Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Eternal Midnight. This is Erica. I'm here with Santino.
How's it going, everyone?
We're also here with Chad.
What's up, guys?
We hope you're all doing good. So today we have our final movie from the DC. We're talking about Joker. Really, really great movie. I really enjoyed it. I think everyone enjoyed it. It's an Oscar-winning and nominating movie, and we're really excited to discuss it with you guys. Yeah. So, Chad, why don't you start us off? What did you think of Joker?
I loved it. Joker was my favorite movie of 2019. I literally saw it 3 times in theaters. I had no idea what I was getting into when I went and saw it. Because, you watch the trailers and the trailers can only tell you so much. But it was I walked out and I was like, it was just amazing from beginning to end. It was just this amazing, almost tragic story of this man with a mental illness who is just the shit life that he lives and what it drives him to do and what he causes and the different ways they showed the story of what was actually real or what was in his head. And just the performance that Joaquin gave was amazing, and he deserved to get Best Actor for it. I thought it was incredible seeing him, because it's you see him the way he acts in this, and it's you don't really see Joaquin Phoenix. You see Arthur Fleck. That's what you see. It's the same as, and we're not going to do a comparison, but it's the same as when we saw Heath Ledger play the Joker. It was we didn't see Heath Ledger. We saw the Joker. And I got the exact same thing with Joaquin Phoenix in this one, where it was that's all I saw, because we've all seen Joaquin Phoenix in other movies. But it's this is another one where it just shows how great of an actor he is, because he was the character he was playing. Yeah, I loved it. So that's just my opening statement. We'll obviously dive into more what I love later, but just to give you guys a chance on your first impressions.
Yeah, what about you, Santino?
Yeah, Joker was good, but not as good as, Avengers Endgame.
Bastard.
Okay. That was
Was that a joke or not? I can't tell because I haven't seen that yet.
That was some thing to throw you off. No, but in all seriousness, I really loved it. It was one of those movies where it's a unique take on the character. Because again, I'm not gonna compare, but we've seen different versions of Joker throughout the Batman lore. We've seen Heath Ledger's, Jared Leto's, and Joaquin Phoenix delivered a different take. A guy who we saw the side of what Joker could have been like. Because Joker in the comics has always said that if he wants a past, he prefers it to be multiple choice. So we don't know exactly what his backstory is, and this is a very unique and interesting take on Joker himself. I mean, I like the Joaquin Phoenix performance. He deserves that Oscar. He really does. I really love what they did with the lore of Batman. I love how it was connected to Batman's story. Because Joker's acts connected to Batman's beginnings, which is amazing. I really love how it shows that he is not normal, and because he's not normal, he's frowned upon by society, which is unfair, and it's a really good message. We sometimes see mentally ill people as that, they're not normal, and that means they don't fit into society, which is not fair at all. And you end up having this guy who's so sick and tired of it, which is really good. The opening scene is my favorite, where he's spinning the sign, and then some dickbags just grab the sign and smash it and smash it in his face, and then he's on the ground and you see the Joker title. I knew exactly what I was getting into when I saw that. So yeah.
Well, to build on what you said about how society looks at him with the mental illness, I completely agree, and that was one of my favorite lines from near the end with the Murray Show, when, he said, he's everyone's making such a big deal out of these 3 Wall Street guys. If it was me dying on the sidewalk, you'd walk right over me.
Yeah.
Yes, that's sadly how it is in the world we live in. That's how it goes. Someone big up, someone a big name or something gets killed, and, a huge deal is made out of it. But then a simple nobody is dying right in front of you, and you just, oh well. It's sad, because all lives are all lives should be valued.
Yeah. So I love Joker. I loved it so much. It was great. I've watched it twice since I watched it the first time, and then I watched it a second time just last night. So like I said, I really loved Joker. I think I mean there wasn't any moment that I didn't like. It was chilling. It gave you the creeps. You felt sad for him. You felt like it gave you everything that you needed, and it didn't feel like I was watching a movie about the Joker. It felt like I was watching a movie about Arthur Fleck, and at the end you see him like there was something he said at the end of when he's on the Murray show. I can't remember the exact line, but he said something about he has nothing left to lose, so he's just gonna let it all go.
Mm-hmm.
And like all the plot twists were great, and I love the casting. I really loved the original score. It was creepy. It gave you the chills. It had it set the mood so well. And that's one thing with movies. The music and the score is like if you have a bad score, it totally can ruin a movie. But if you have a good one, it'll totally set the right vibe and right mood. And it's like you had said, Santino, I really liked that they kind of brought in Thomas and Bruce Wayne, like that scene where he went to Wayne Manor and we saw like little Bruce. I was like, oh my God, what the fuck is he gonna do? It was a familiarity in that like it gave us kind of like a connection in some way to Batman, and like I wonder it's a moment of like I know that this universe isn't gonna really have Batman in it, but it's the thing of like I wonder if Batman would ever remember or know that this creepy man ended up being his like arch nemesis,
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
When it comes to the score, I swear I'm gonna get crucified for this. I cannot for the life of me pronounce this woman's name, and I don't even want to try because I know I will just butcher it. All I know is she's Icelandic, and her first name is Hildur, Hildur. I can't even pronounce the last name. All I know is that she got awards for best score.
She did for the Oscar.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, multiple Oscar winning. Joaquin Phoenix deserved that Oscar. Like he was great. And this was an incredible movie, and it was totally a different feel than all the other movies I've seen, which I think is good. But
and that's what I love about DC, and that's personally why I love DC more than Marvel, because DC is willing to take chances like this. They're willing to put out an R-rated solo villain film that doesn't even it still falls within the comic book movie genre, but I mean this is not a comic book movie at all. Like this is the farthest thing from like an Avengers movie. They're not even comparable. So it's like I love it because it's like DC, yeah, DC has its Man of Steels, its Shazams, and now it's got something like the Joker, and like all three of these movies are completely different from each other.
Yeah.
It's like you look at something like Aquaman, you come and you look at something like Joker. It's like not even comparable. Like there's one that's so different from the other, but it's good because it like has some variety to it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Variety to what Joker is, what the DCEU is doing. So yeah. That's what I love about it.
I really like the whole murder subway scene, and then like it was freaky, but it was also like those guys. I don't know. I don't want to like. I feel guilty for like sympathizing with Joker, but I almost do. In a way of sympathizing with Arthur because he's not Joker, he's Arthur. I sympathize with Arthur, and I understand his emotions and feeling angry. Like his life seemed like total shit. It was total shit. But the part that stood out for me was after he murdered them, and then he went to that like public bathroom, and then he just started doing like ballet poses. It freaked me out. It was creepy. It was like disturbing, and it was everything that it should have been for a scene like that.
And You know what scene I think freaks me out the most is like I know I have quite a few friends who are like, they don't like clowns. Clowns freak them out. And I can see why. They don't scare me. But I think the scene where he was the scariest was probably like the first time he started putting on the makeup and he only got as far as his face just being white. Oh, that was just creepy as hell looking and then
Right.
like the colors of that scene where it was like his face was just white and then he killed his friend and the blood was all over him. It was just like that bright white with the bright red blood all over his face. Oh, that scene was just unsettling.
I can't believe this is from the same guy who directed the Hangover trilogy. I really can't.
I remember everyone was saying he's not going to be able to do it. This movie's going to be a joke. It's going to be pathetic. He's going to fail. No, he proved that, yes, people can move beyond what they're known for and what they're good at. I mean, he did it. He literally, like that, because that's what everyone was saying. Oh my God, the Hangover guy is doing this. Guy did the Hangover. He's not going to be able to pull it off. And look what he gave us. He gave us something incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. Like I said, with regards to directors, everyone's always like each director can only do this type of movies, and I'm like, if that's the director, then they're not a good director. The whole point of directing is seeing your movie and setting the feel, the vibe, how it's supposed to be. And Todd Phillips, I think he did great. And it's this whole movie was great, and it was a story that we had never heard before. Like there wasn't even another version of Joker's backstory, at least not in a movie form. And the scene that was
No, the first Batman with Michael Keaton, that was a Joker origin story.
I haven't seen that one, so.
Mm.
But that scene where he went into the fridge.
Yeah.
I think that was improvised.
That was so like it was one of those things where it's like it was a moment of like you're starting to see how insane this dude is now. It's like I'm just gonna go into my fridge now.
You know
And-
the scene that was unsettling was the I totally forgot to add this on a while ago. The scene I was selling was this one in the subway. I totally forgot he had the handgun with him. So like when he fired and killed those three guys, I was like, oh my God, he had a gun. So like it was like Todd Phillips did a good part of directing the scene where he made me forget he had the handgun with him. So when he fired, it was like a jump scare ish type of thing.
Wait, you forgot that he had it? But like the scene right before it was when he was at the hospital and he dropped it and then he got fired, remember?
Yeah, and then I felt like he put it away. I didn't know that he still had it on him. So I was like, oh God, so when he fired it, oh, he still has it. I just had to add that on. So.
I really liked the whole the vibe they were setting with his therapist. Like the therapist, it was a good job of showing like honestly how bad therapy like that can sometimes be, and like the fact that they had to cut their funding and their office was closing is so real. Like that stuff like that happens. And I like the part where he told her, he said, "You don't listen, do you? You just ask me, how are your meds? How are you feeling? Are you having any negative thoughts?" And it's so real. And like I'm not at all saying that therapy doesn't work for people. It totally does. It's worked for me. It's worked for many people, and I'm not at all saying that. But this is set in 1981, and things like that were very different, and they handled mental illness very differently as well. And it's I think it was really good, and the whole comedy club thing.
Oh, that was brutal.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
His dream shattered in one go.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
It's like honestly, like let's there are two twists in the movie that really got me. Like the first one, the first one was kind of like that was kind of expected, where his female friend Sophie was actually a hallucination, and she wasn't real.
No, she was real. She just
Real, but the relationship
them
wasn't.
dating was all in his head. Yeah. Like
Yeah, so like
that scene when he just like broke into her house or into her apartment and just sat there and she's just like, oh my God, you're that guy from down the hall. Please, get out of my house or whatever. Because the first time I saw that, I was like, wait, what's her problem? And then they started doing the flash, and I'm like, oh my God, now. Because I was wondering the same thing that a lot of other people did too. I'm like, I feel like there's going to be no payoff to this relationship because they're doing nothing with it. And then it was like, I hit that scene. I'm like, that's why they weren't doing shit with it, because there was nothing there to begin with anyways. It was just all in his head. I thought that was such a cool reveal of how like broken his psyche was really starting to affect him and what he was like becoming and turning into.
And yeah, I totally agree there. And another thing about all that is that, it starts kind of sad, but then things kind of get a little bit better, and you go to the top, and then it's like when you start going down, you realize that the top was all in his head.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, the big one for me was when he broke into the theater and he talked to Thomas Wayne, and it was one of those things where he said, I think he said, Thomas was like, what do you want from me? Money? And he was like, I don't know, warmth, love. I can't remember the exact words, but and then it was when he told him about his mom, about Penny. And by the way, Frances Conroy did an amazing job as Penny there. And then when he went to Arkham, when I realized that's what he was doing, I was like, oh, this is going to be interesting. And then the laughing, I didn't mention that. The laughing
that was so unsettling.
It was unsettling, but like in a good way of like it should have been unsettling.
And I did like how at the beginning on the bus, when he gave that woman the card while he was laughing, I thought that was really interesting how the card was like, I'm sorry if I'm making, I don't remember word for word, but it was like something like, sorry if I make you uncomfortable. My laugh, it comes from a mental issue that I have. I laugh like this when I'm nervous. And I'm like it does make you almost like think about it, like the small things we take for granted. Like imagine actually having a disorder where that happens to you. Imagine how much that would affect your life. Yeah. To the point where like, yeah, you have to carry around a card explaining to people why you're laughing, and they're probably pissed off that you're doing it.
Yeah. And like regarding the laugh, but that moment when he goes to Arkham to get his mother's files and he reads them, and then we kind of get that little flashback to when she was actually in there, like a younger Penny, and then he's sitting in like a stairway. He's sitting in the stairwell and he's just laughing, and I think it's a version of like laughing, and like he's meant to be like crying, and it's basically him reading that his entire life has been a lie and that his mother's insane. And then when he goes to the hospital and fucking suffocates her and murders her, oh.
See, that was the twist that actually really got to me. Because this whole time you think that, okay, so like this is like another origin story for the Joker. He didn't fall on the top of acid. He didn't like get his face bleached. He's this guy. So like when the mom was saying like, oh, you're the son of Thomas Wayne, like Thomas Wayne fell in love with me and you're his son, I wasn't opposed to it. It was like, oh, okay, so like this can be like, so he's Bruce Wayne's half brother. So like I can roll with that. And then like as you go, and then you figure out that the mom was actually lying, and that she was just a psycho bitch this entire time. It's like, oh God, so you really not so when he killed the mom, I was like, that was messed up. I was like, yeah, I can see why you would do that, man. It's like, because like imagine you're living this life saying, oh, this guy is your father, but because we're poor we can't really reach out to him. And when you forgot the fact, like, and it sees that your mom was mentally disabled and she's been lying to you, you would be so fulfilled with like that rage that you would probably want to kill the girl who lied to you or kill the guy.
I don't think that she was lying to him. I think she was insane and she actually thought that Thomas was Arthur's father. I don't think it was like, I'm going to lie to my son. I think it was like, she's crazy and doesn't remember what happened. So
Yeah, I mean, she sent out a letter to him nearly every single day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was rough. But I think I mean, let's get to probably like the big scene of the entire movie, the Murray show at the end.
Yeah.
Honestly, that is like just from the moment he gets on stage to when they pull the plug on the TV and he gets arrested. Just that is one of my like complete favorite sequences in a film ever. Because even like before that, when it was like when he was like practicing getting ready to go on the show at his house or whatever, and he was pretending like he was going to kill himself, it's like leading up to it, that was going to be his point. He was going to go on and he was going to commit suicide on the show. But you can see it, and you can see it in his face at one certain point when right before Murray calls him out, he's like, we're going to play this guy's clip one more time. And then right then when they're zooming in on his face as he's smoking his cigarette, you can just see that's when he changes his mind. He's like, I'm not killing myself on this show. I'm killing him instead. Because it pushed him over that next edge of just, I don't care anymore. He was so just totally broken at that point that it was like he got to that moment and you could just feel the rage when he pulled the trigger and shot Murray right in the face.
Yeah. And Robert De Niro was a perfect cast for that, 100%. I think
perfect asshole.
Yeah, and he was just it was like I said, he was a perfect cast for that. And yeah, that whole scene there. And okay, I will say this. So before he goes on the show, when he's like dancing on the staircase, I love that scene. That was that moment of like, Arthur's gone. I'm this crazy Joker dude now. Fuck it all. I'm gonna dance on the staircase and then go murder someone. That was literally the feeling of that scene, and it was perfect. And I like that. I can't remember the song that was playing. Oh, I wish I could remember, but it was a good song for it. And that whole scene with the Franklin show was perfect.
Yeah, the song that was playing was Rock and Roll Part 2, so you can search it up if you want. But to me, before I get into my thoughts about the Murray show, I want to talk about the scene before that, where he was in his apartment and his face was white and he killed the fat guy.
Yeah, his coworkers.
Mm-hmm.
His coworkers. Okay, so before at the beginning he latches the door, right, to make sure they don't go out. So then he kills the fat guy with like the scissors, if I remember correctly. Oh, okay, sorry. He kills the guy with his coworker with the scissors, and then after he bleeds out, the smaller coworker, he goes and unlatches. He tries to unlatch it, and there was such tension to the scene. It's like, did he latch that door to make sure that he didn't go out, or was he really? And when he's unlatching the door, like I was so worried he was gonna kill the other guy. I was like, oh god, is he really gonna kill the other guy? Or he had some go. Like that was like so unpredictable. I was like, oh my, like I actually like was having like a mini heart attack. Like, oh my god, I hope this guy doesn't die. Because like, okay, yeah, the older guy deserved it, but not him.
The scene where he's like, he tells him, he's like, you can go, and he's just walking by, he just kind of at him.
One thing about that I actually kind of liked was he said to him, you're the only one of them that was ever nice to me. And I kind of liked that because it was true. From what I saw from his coworkers at the clown place, all the other guys just seemed to like, not be very kind to him. And then he was nice to him. He cared about him. But that scene where he stabbed the other guy with the scissors, I gagged. I was like, oh God. It was so gory. It was like, Oh, it was, and then he just continued going, and then his other friend was like in the corner, like freaking out. I was just like, holy shit, he's gone. He's gone. Arthur's gone. This is a crazy madman now.
Can I say that my favorite joke in the entire movie was when he got fired and he's like, "Oh, I forgot to punch out," and he starts punching the clock.
And then he markers out the like don't forget to laugh or something, and he blacks out the forget, and it just says don't laugh, and he's like all pissed, and I don't know, I kind of liked that. It was funny. Yeah.
I think the joke that he told that I thought was like the funniest because it's just like the simplest but like the stupidest at the same time was when he was on the Murray show, the knock knock joke. Who's there? It's the police, ma'am. Your son's been killed by a drunk driver. He's dead. It's like and like everyone in the studio is like, "Oh, that's terrible. That's not funny." And I'm like, "It's not, but it's kind of funny." Because you're not expecting it.
I mean, like the Murray show was like, in my opinion, like such a well told scene. Like this whole time, I really thought that he was really gonna like point the gun in his neck and he's gonna kill himself. I didn't think that he was gonna shoot at De Niro. I mean, like I kind of got that feeling. Like, okay, so I've read the Dark Knight Returns, and that same thing happens where like Joker kills everyone in the audience. So I kind of get like, okay, I assume he's gonna kill someone. I just didn't know who. And when he pointed the gun at De Niro, like, oh, like, and then the gunshot where the guy's, De Niro gets killed, like, oh, so like that really got me. Like, oh, so he really died. And then Joker like leaves, and like I love that motion where he does, like he throws the gun on the floor, like I don't need it anymore. I'm done. And I don't need
Plugs
this.
one more into him and then just tosses it on the desk.
Yeah. Yeah. And when he said, I should have remembered the lines exactly, but when he said, he admits to murdering those 3 guys on the subway, and then Murray's like, is he joking or is he not joking? What's happening?
Oh, he's like, okay, we're waiting for the punchline. There is no punchline.
Yeah.
It's not a...
And like if this was real and something like that happened today, they would go off the air. They would like minute that said that, it would be gone. There'd be no and
well, you saw the producer in the background start, giving the sign, cut this off, stop it now, and Murray just ignored him because that's also, think of it, you got to look at it from the other side of you. Murray is seeing it as, I'm interviewing a murderer, somebody else is calling the cops right now. So it was more sensationalism for his type of character. That's just who he was. It was, hey, look, this is gonna boost my ratings. I have someone on here who just admitted to murdering 3 people. This is gonna boost my show.
It may have also been a case of like keeping him there instead of, if they cut it, he could go and.
I think a nicer person would have looked at it that way. Murray was just looking at it as the asshole scumbag TV host that he was.
Yeah. For a second, I thought you said TV ho. I was like, I'm sorry. Yeah. 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 That whole scene, and then at the ending, I love the ending where like he's arrested and Gotham is in chaos, and then they knock over, they run into the police car that has him in it, and then they pull him out and they like lay him on the car waiting for him to come to it, and then he wakes up and he's like, what's happening? And then he stands in the car and everyone's cheering for him, and it was one of those things of like,
oh my
smile.
God, and when he was like bleeding from his mouth and he took the blood and made it his new smile.
Oh, that was
creepy. Weird.
That was so creepy. And
I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it too. He's just standing up. It's like he finally got what he wanted. He was recognized and he was loved.
Yeah, that's how you know, because like that's when he fully became Joker. That was the final. That's what did it. Like when he did that's he already like there was some form of Arthur even in the talk show, but when he smiled, like that's it. He became Joker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because he was at that point where it was like, that's what he'd always wanted out of life, was to be liked and like to be recognized, and he had both standing up on top of that car. He
Yeah.
had a crowd of people around him looking up to him, cheering for him and rooting for him. And it was like that was literally everything he'd wanted, and he finally got it.
Yeah, and it also set a pace, not a pace. That's the wrong word, but it set it up of like, the Joker became one of those villains that like all the other criminals was like kind of scared of in a way, and like he had a fair bit of power, and that kind of just set it up in that like him becoming Joker kind of set Gotham into like an even worse crime thing, and that's why he had so many people that liked him, was because of that moment. And I know that this is supposed to be set kind of differently, but it did a good job of the setting. Like he still becomes Joker, and they did a good job of setting that up in a way, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And then
I know what you mean.
And then there's the ending where he's in Arkham and he talks with someone, but then he walks away from the screen and he has blood on his shoes. And I'm like, did he just murder that person? And then he's just walking down the hallway in white, and then he's at the end and he's like dancing. And I was just like, that is a like perfect ending scene. And it was one of those things of like, he just murdered that guy. Holy shit.
And the biggest thing with the ending that I'm of two minds when it comes to movies like this. I don't think there should be a sequel because I don't think this movie needs a sequel. I truly don't. But money speaks louder than art and creativity can, and they've already said that a sequel is in development. So it's like, while I do want a sequel because I would like to see more of this character and what comes next, I don't think whatever they're going to make next will be able to top or be as interesting as this first movie. So it's like, I don't need a sequel. We got Arthur's story. There's really, in my opinion, there's really nothing left to tell. So it's like, I wish they'd leave it alone. But you know what? If you're going to make a sequel, then I just hope it's something different and still extremely creative, because I don't want it. Obviously, it's not going to be like a repeat of this one, but I don't want some lazy cash grab to come out next either. So it's like, if they're going to make a sequel, just please go all out with the creativity, the writing. Go all out as much as you did with this one. Put your all into it and make sure you're giving us a quality film worthy of being called Joker 2 or something, or whatever title they'll give it.
Right. I mean, like, I agree with you, Chad, and like, I look at it in the same way as like Logan, and the way that Logan was filmed. It was filmed like as a goodbye to Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, and the end, like, it's a really a goodbye. And after that, there's rumors that Hugh Jackman's gonna return for MCU. Like, I don't want that to happen, because like, this is it. This is the final thing, and I want it to be like this way of looking at this character, and that's it. That's over. And I really don't want a sequel. It's perfect as it is. Why do you have to have a sequel to a really good movie?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm not really of two minds. I'm fully against their having a sequel, because you don't need it. It's done. The story is complete. He will become. You already know what's gonna happen. Joker will fight Batman in the future. Bruce's parents were killed, and that's it. So why do you need a sequel to that? It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah. I agree there. But one thing that, would be interesting would be getting a prequel of like that whole thing with Penny and Arthur as a kid and what happened there. That might be kind of interesting. I don't think it would do as well as Joker, but I think if they would do a sequel, that would be a good way. Because that's something I am interested in seeing, and seeing how all that happened. Yeah. And yeah, it was great. It's one of those films that no one's ever gonna forget.
And who honestly thought, this is another weird thing, like you said, no one's gonna forget. Who in the world thought this movie was gonna make $1 billion?
Yeah.
I remember I was like predicting with a friend of mine. I'm like, because I saw the budget. I think the budget was it was pretty low. I'm pretty sure it was like 50 million or something like that. I think. So I mean, it wasn't very much. And yeah, it was 55 to 70 million, which is the rumored budget, and it made 1.074 billion dollars. And I remember I was talking with a friend of mine. We were just kind of like taking bets, how much we thought it was gonna make. I was like, you know what? I'm betting. I'm like, it's rated R, and it's about a villain. I'm like, I'll bet you 400 to 500 million range, probably. And it just kept going up. And I remember one day I like looked at it and it was already at like 750 million or something. And I was like, is this movie going to hit the billion? I was like, you've got to be kidding me. And then, yeah, I remember the day it hit the billion. I was like, who in the world thought an R-rated film called Joker was going to make $1 billion? It's crazy.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, 100%. It was, yeah, it was, like I said, I have nothing negative. It did everything it should have done. And yeah.
Yeah. Real quick, I want to talk about like something controversial with this, because like it's a scene that some people hate and some people love. The scene where Bruce's parents get killed. Some people hated the fact that it tacks on Batman and like that's not how it should be. Others, it's good. So I just want to know your thoughts.
The way Bruce's parents have to die. Bruce and Martha Wayne cannot be around. That's just what happens. Bruce's parents die unless they're doing some Elseworld story, which that's where things change, multiverse, yada yada yada, where things happen differently. But no, I mean, I don't understand what people didn't like about that. I mean, we've had multiple different origins, not that's the wrong word, multiple different versions of his parents getting killed. I mean, in the Michael Keaton movie, it was the Joker who killed them. In Batman Begins, it was Joe Chill, I think his name was. It was a completely different. In BVS, we saw another different way of it. So it's like again, like you've said, Santino, comic book movies are all interpretations of decades of stories being told. There's going to be different ways of telling it, different ways of showing it. There's been different versions written. There's different versions filmed and put in movies, on TV shows. So anyone who like had an issue with that, I mean, you kind of need to get over it, because that shouldn't be an issue for anyone how it happened. I mean, we have multiple different versions of characters all over the place. Why does the death of two characters why can't that be something different?
Yeah, I think it was good that they added it in. It's one of those things where it's like I didn't hate it. I have no real opinion on it. I think it's an addition that was fine, and it kind of set a stage of like, one thing that I have is I feel like Brett Cullen was the wrong decision for Thomas Wayne. I mean, first of all, the actor himself is 63, and I understand them, having to make him slightly older because he was supposed to have rumored to have a child with Penny. But I feel like they could have chosen an actor who was maybe in his 50s, because like it could have been when Thomas was living at the manor with his father still, and he was like 20 or something, I just feel like, I don't know, I just couldn't see Brett Cullen as Thomas Wayne, and I feel like if they chose an actor maybe like 10 years younger, it would have been a little bit better. That's just my opinion, though. Yeah.
Yeah, I had no issue with it.
I mean, like personally,
I liked seeing a cynical asshole version of Thomas Wayne, anyways, and
True.
he perfectly played it.
That is true. That's a true part. But like I said, I feel like they could have done that with a younger actor, in my opinion.
I mean, like personally for me, I feel like with regards to the deaths of Bruce's parents, like what Chad said, comic book movies are different in its interpretation. So I didn't mind the fact that this Joker dude killed the Waynes. and I thought it was really cool. And in the same way, like how Gwen Stacy died in Amazing Spider-Man 2, like it was a different interpretation of how she got killed, but same brevity, same depth, same emotional stake. So I didn't mind it.
Joker didn't kill his parents. It was one of the people from the riots.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry. This Joker dude, like with a mask.
Mask. It's like that wasn't him. He was getting arrested. Yeah.
No. The Joker guy with a mask killed Bruce's parents. Right? So I was like, okay.
The rioter.
Yeah.
The rioter.
Okay, so we all love Joker. Why don't we just do our quick closing thoughts? Chad, you go.
I love the movie. I generally don't. Let's see. Since I saw, like I said, I saw it 3 times in theaters. Since it came out on Blu-ray, I've probably watched it 3 times. I try to avoid watching movies I love that often because I don't want to ruin them. And this is definitely one I never want to ruin. But I mean, I can watch the Murray Franklin show scene any day of the week, though. But no, overall, I think it's great. I can see the issues that some people have had with it, but I also know that there are some people I know that have went into it with a very closed mind, saying they were not going to like it, and they came out saying they didn't like it, and I was like, oh, shouldn't have wasted your money then, because you said you weren't going to like it. Why'd you go? But no, I love it, and it's definitely something that I think is a lot deeper than a lot of people give it credit for.
Santino?
For me, I've seen this movie twice. Once in theaters and once before I got into the podcast. It's a very good message on how people treat society, how society treats people who have mental problems, and it's a very good message. Like if you don't do anything about this now, we will end up having some guy that actually is like Joker.
Yeah.
And I think Chad said this once to me. It's the most real comic book movie. Like this could happen in the real world. Yeah, I agree. I wholeheartedly agree that because Joker is something that could happen in real life. This is something that could happen, and if you don't put a stop to it, it probably will happen. So yeah, really good message. Joaquin Phoenix does a really good job. Hildur, I cannot pronounce her last name. Hildur, the girl who scored it, amazing composer. Really great job. Is it the best movie I saw in 2019? No, that award goes to okay. But that award goes.
Don't you dare say that stupid title in this podcast.
No, that award goes to.
I don't know what you're referring to, so I'm.
That award goes to like 1917 and Parasite, but it's up there. But like,
all right. My expectations and take another route. Very nice.
Yeah.
He's talking about Endgame. That was his favorite movie of the year.
Guilty charged, but okay. So, but that's just me. So yeah, closing thoughts. It's a really damn good movie. So and really good message, and it has way more depth than I've seen in most Marvel movies. So there that is. So yeah.
Yeah.
Erica.
I really liked it. It was really, really good. Like I said, I watched it a week and a half ago, and then I just watched it again last night because I knew we were going to record. And I really enjoyed it. I think it does a really good job of, like I said, Joaquin Phoenix was incredible. It really shows what mental health does, and I have no negative thoughts on it. I will say that, we love our listeners and we care about you. So if anyone is having any troubles with mental health or suicidal thoughts, we're going to put a website that you can go to get some help if you need it. Because we care about you. We love our listeners, and we do this. We love you guys, and we do this for you. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let us know what your opinions on Joker was. We always like interacting with you guys, and we hope you have a good day. This is Erica. Have a good night.
This is Santino signing off.
And I'm Chad, and I'm out of here.
Bye.